Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and move on to our second session of High Vibe Channeling on this January 8th. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we get another high energy session from Wendy Wolfe and Dave Yelen. You can find more about Wendy on her Facebook page and on her languageoflights.com website. She does a lot of personal sessions and is a wonderful light language bringer to us. And that is all very energetic. And Dave does that as well. Although, as usual, he sits just behind her. But that does not mean that his talent is any less, because he speaks softly and carries a big magic wand of words. And we will let her bring forth any other information that she would like to share, and then we'll get started. Thank you, Wendy and Dave.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Am I quiet or am I loud?
Perfect.
Good day, good love, good light, good evening, whenever and wherever you are, because it's always now. And I do not even have to ask how all of you are, because you're always, always perfect. And that is a fact. And that is the Sirian energy that surges through me, as it has been all day long. And our tour, I'm always, of course, getting high Sirius energy off of you as well. So that is a given. And I will start by saying that the date today, I'm glad you mentioned that it was the 8th, because that is really how they came to me, which, again, much like a lot of entities, all of a sudden I'm not even thinking about them. And all of a sudden it's like that calling, that guidance to say, we have something to share, and this is something that you're passionate about and have always been. So today's date on 1/8/2026 is all about today equals 1. Now that just happened to be the synchronicity of the date of sharing today, because of the year 2026 equaling 10 equaling 1. And they wanted to revisit the sacred circuitry and how it's reflecting in this year. And I wanted to, for those of you who probably don't know me at all, or I just wanted to say that I kind of had my big spiritual awakening in like 2011, and shortly thereafter I found Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka, and when they presented the sacred circuitry to me, it was like something clicked in me, something expanded in me. And if you haven't heard about them or know about them, we can provide where to find them. But it was the sacred circuitry and the wholeness of being transmission from 2010. So this is how long it's been that I've been introduced, and I thought it was funny that it was 2010 as well. But this is how long it's been since I've been introduced to these ideas, this permission slip, these transmissions from the Sirius triad that we are connected to with the Sassani, the Sirius, and Earth. It is, and I will say for pronoun, I guess I want to say it, we will be saying we a lot, because that's how it comes to me, is when I'm saying we are talking from them and we and me, and along with the light languages. It is an orchestra and an invitation of energy that is beyond language. When I first was introduced to light language, the sacred circuitry led me on that path, and the path to channeling, etc. And this journal I started in 2011, and the very first thing I started to write in the journal was the sacred circuits, because they suggested that we draw them out each one. And the purpose of them is they're designed to allow the neurological circuitry in the brain to rewire itself to be representative of each and every one of these symbolic shapes so it may function in accord with the concept that is attended to its shape. And overall, the course of these shapes allows us to, and allows you, all of us, to lead a more holistically, to function in a more holistic and hyper-connective and hyper-conductive manner, associative with accessing a way to knowledge and information about ourselves, the cosmos, and all that is. So I just wanted to throw that out there in that this is the purpose, is the Sirius energy to assist us in amplifying this. And this year, this number 1 year, this number 10 year, I was simply guided to revisit this information and share with you the symbols for this year. And if you're unfamiliar with the sacred circuitry, these are all 15. And they're and in that transmission, it explains how to use them, in what order, etc., which I can go into if you guys have questions on that, but that can be found there as well. So this is the 15 of them. The ones we're going to be focusing on tonight are 1 and 10. Number 1 is symbolized by center, and number 10, relate. So we wanted to share as we take just a moment to look at these symbols, to understand that these are interdimensional beings that have come to us through these portals to come at the perfect timings for all of us, all of you. This year, in this number 10 year, is about relating. How you relate to yourself. How you relate to each and every other being. How you relate to your own self-awareness. And how centeredness is the portal to, when we look at this, the symbol, it represents us as above, so below. And when we understand, when we are in our center, we begin to relate to everything in a new way. And it allows us to have a direct connection to what we understand as all elemental beings. Of course, the Sasquatch, we are family. That is the simple reason. We are here to remind you this year that you have all agreed to this. And when we say agreed, let's rephrase that. You have excitedly accepted the roles of teachers, way showers, illuminators. You are the mentors, as we, the Syrians, are the mentors to you, to the Sassani. And I, Wendy, wear the contact crystal. As soon as I even understood anything about open contact or open contact specialist, first contact specialist, I knew. And I tapped into the Sirius energy because that is what they're also helping us to do right now. Which isn't that what all of us, we are all doing right now, is opening contact with each other? And to remind us all that the energy is being amplified with the trinary consciousness of Sassani, Sirius, and Earth. And that trinary consciousness energy is amplified through our moonlight. Every time we gaze at the moon, we are receiving this amplification of literally these circuits as interdimensional beings. We're receiving all of that energy. I have on my website, thanks to Dave, the sacred circuitry for the day, for each and every day. What is the sacred circuit for today? And as we gaze upon it, we open up those neurological pathways to relate to everything around us in a more expanded way, and to relate to ourselves. That is the most important thing of the vibration of this year, is the relationship to our center, to source, to how do we relate to source, and how do we relate to each other. And I'm thirsty, sorry. The idea with interacting with these beings is the idea of interacting with all dimensions, and each of these can tell a story for each and every day. So, of course, the number, for example, when I say each and every day, when you add up numerically the day and you reduce it to its final number, as today is a number 1. So how synchronistic that it was that we are all invited to this gathering today on this number 1 day. And of course, all things are synchronistic. Once you begin to relate to begin to relate to yourself and the other aspects of yourself, this allows you to more fully, passionately interact with these other aspects of yourself. When you are at your center, you can relate to so much more than you could than the current vibration. We leave the vibration of the number 9 year, as we understand that is a completion. An entire cycle has been complete. This is why you came right now, for this new cycle, this new beginning. And you guys, you are the ones ushering in and amplifying this energy. And as we open ourselves to these circuits again, once again, it allows us to, I hate to keep using the same words because they sound so redundant, but yet it seems as if my vocabulary isn't expansive enough to even explain some of this. Again, it is like trying to funnel so much information. And I just knew that even my energy as I walk through the world, and as we, broadcast this energy, that we are, it's like walking with a master, what you could imagine as the feeling of walking with a master. And let me digress a moment by saying master, because it reminds us all about the idea of the Sirius star system and how it represents itself so much across our understanding, our Egyptian connections, that idea to Isis, and then what was the, I can't remember the name of it. I got it right here. The name of the Sopdet. I'm sorry, I didn't want to mispronounce that. Sopdet, the ancient Egyptian name for the star Sirius. Why is that important to bring up now? I have no idea. I was simply guided to say it. So again, that's the other point that we want to make is go with the flow, like the dragon energy. If you're inspired to do something, share something, this is the year that you are centered and you're relating to yourself in a new way, and to just go with what your instincts are asking you to share. Again, without following the formula, without any insistence on where it's going to take you. I am guided to share these things, and I have no idea why and when. And yet, I know that today was somehow in perfect timing, And actually, I was already going to share this information because I was guided to before even the schedule came up for January. And then as soon as I saw the 8th, and I quickly saw the date equaled 1, it was like, that was it. I was like, yep, that's that. And then, of course, following our tour was that, that was easy because it simply follows that energy. And I will say that in the entire time, they're reminding me, too, that these circuitry also help us expand and open ourselves to even that huge heart energy that was amplified tonight. And the questions that were how you related to that whole idea changed tonight. And we can see that. And the Sirius connection is to remind you of all of that the way you relate to your family is changing, is expanding. What you consider family is expanding. How you are relating to that new idea of what is family, of what is simultaneous realities that you are, and to even begin to imagine what infinite number of them actually means. How, and we understand that it's difficult to the number of grains of sand on the earth, and even that pales in comparison to the explanation of all that you are and all that you are beginning to relate to now in this powerful year of 10, of 1. And this is the reduction of 10 into the number 1 is its own energetic expansion. And I, the Wendy, have chosen to come into this world as a birth path number 11, the double amplification of that number 1 of my job was to come and remind everybody of that inner light and the connection between all of it and all of you and all that is. And that when you are shining your light by doing the things that expand you and excite you the most is that's when you are the closest to your center and how you relate to yourself. And the way you respond to yourself. And then this me, the Wendy that is human, is still learning about how to relate more openly with love, complete and utter love, that the dog star, we're reminded again, the dog star, Sirius Canis Major is the symbol of the dog star, the symbol of service to humanity. And we are reminded that the energy that you feel when you are with, whether it's a canine companion or any other companion, that feeling is that love from your family, your Sirius family, all of the aspects of all that you are. That is the feeling. And Dave and I were reminded as well about the connection to the dolphin and the whale energy. Do we ever question why our heart opens when we see a dolphin, when we see a whale? As humans, what do we want? We want to be near them. We are so exalted and excited. That's the energy. That's the reminder of being the mentors. The mentors to an entire civilization wishing for ascension, wishing to open themselves in a way that they never have. And how we all and your family are here as an infinite collective to usher in this new beginning. We are also excited and exalted, though we do not use time. However, we use your vibration of your perception of time to know when the timing is perfect for you. To be reminded, because belief systems come into play, as you know, creating your reality. And there are certain times, certain years, certain portals, certain numbers that amplify it when we go, yep, we're up, we're up. We get to remind you again of your light. And when you walk through in your light, how you change another. Instantly. They don't even know what hit them. Because you are new. And we're new, you're new, now, every now moment. But again, you are allowing time and your relationship, your relation to time is changing. It is evolving. Now you're understanding you are creating it. You are. And it's perfect because that is also an interdimensional permission slip, if you will, to allow you to see more of you. And there's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing ever to be afraid of because it's you. And you wanted to meet you. You came in this now time that you've created for yourself to be able to relate to yourselves and see yourselves in a completely crystalline, cosmic, interdimensional being that you are. And to understand you are never separated from source. Never. But yet, you have taken on the role of, nobody can believe it in the cosmos that somebody could want to take on this role of believing you are separate from source and then remembering it, and how you've chosen to lie your own breadcrumbs to remember it. Every synchronicity, doesn't it make you gasp or sing or have that feeling that you feel when you see the dog, the dolphin, the whale? The sheer awareness of it is a celebration to your soul. No doubt about it. This is the energy that wanted to be amplified and exalted today. And to remind you that these circuits are here to tell a story. They're here to tell your story. And each and every day, as the date changes and that number changes, how you relate to that interdimensional being that's associated with that number, that aspect of you changes. It creates new synapses in what you believe is your physical brain. What you believe is your physical brain. But you have agreed to that too, to all of it, to awaken in a way that has never been done before. And to also remind you that these beings is how you connect to that, even the idea of hybrid children and new civilizations couldn't have even entered your consciousness unless you weren't already the vibration of it. Because it excites you.
Lots of questions.
So, yes, if there's questions, I hope we can answer them fully. And Dave, is there anything also that I always get so excited that I always remind Dave just...
Only I just wanted to mention that when we were talking about this today specifically and connecting to the ideas of all of these things, of course, with synchronicity, we would see different videos that we might come across or make different connections. Now, I'm a computer programmer, so I see ones and zeros as binary. And oddly, the idea behind a 10 and a 1 is literally shifting.
Oh, that's right.
The 1 in binary math, it's actually called shift left, shift right. You're shifting the 1s from left to right to transform a 10 to a 1. And that sort of was representative of the idea that moving into this now 1 year is the completion of the shift that everyone's always talking about. And of course,
and this we talk about over coffee.
And we were talking about, we were talking about Cryon, the magnetic master, whom Arthur was mentioning, and the dragons were mentioning, and his message for the new year, which we happened to just listen to today, talked about the shift.
The shift. It was just so amazing how it was right after Dave and I were discussing it, and then, oh, go ahead. Did you want to expand on that? Sorry.
And the other thing was, we were talking about the whales and the dolphins. What was also shown to me was the idea, because we also just happened to watch other videos that had nothing to do with specifically spiritual related. We were watching some people who went to the beach and just happened to see whales and dolphins in the water, and they stopped and replanned their whole day because they weren't planning on seeing whales and dolphins, and they stopped and just sat and watched the whales and dolphins. Or actually, I think it was just the whales in this case. But what was shown to me was, if you could imagine you're at the beach and you see whales or dolphins, or whales and dolphins in the water, how you stop to watch them. And just imagine if instead of the whales, it was an extraterrestrial craft flying over the ocean. That feeling you had seeing the incredible whales and watching the whales is the same vibration that you would have in seeing a craft, extraterrestrials, because the vibration of the whales is very close to an extraterrestrial kind of vibration. So when you want to think of the idea of, what would it be like to actually see extraterrestrials, to see craft, to see open contact occur, all you really need to do is think of the whales and the dolphins and how you would feel to be watching them, and that puts you in that vibration. That's a permission slip, so to speak, of what it would be like to be in that vibration. Once you think of it, and everyone can, because you could watch it on TV and see the whales, like, oh my you're God. In that vibration, and that takes you even closer. And the in channeling, it's often said, and Wendy says it all the time, about the connecting with the whales and the dolphins, connecting with nature, connecting with all these things. It's really just a simple matter of thinking of those things, which takes you into the vibration of being there, and you're there.
And it started because I was looking at Abby, my dog, and I know all of you pet owners, I shouldn't say owners, companions, can relate to this, where you're going, you're the cutest dog on the planet. You are, we all say it, right? You're the cutest little kitty on the planet. And we're all right. You're all right, because that is correct. They're all that same vibration. Doesn't that take you right into that vibration where you're like, no, just you baby talk. Is that instinct of that love, that nurturing, that, there's any mischief that you could possibly get into, I still couldn't love you less. It's just, and that's how Source feels about us. That's what they want us to remember. That's it. That's what this is. Now I got chilly tingles. That's what this is all about.
Let's go to questions.
So, yes.
Who's first?
Arthur?
Yes, sopa.
Oh my God. You blow my mind.
I found the page of ones and zeros right after Dave said that. I drew this like 10 years ago, a whole page of ones and zeros. Right after he talked about that too. Sorry, Archer.
No, absolutely fine. Like, you blow my mind because now, first and foremost, when I came home today and I parked my car, I was thinking about the sacred circuits. I love the sacred circuits, and I have like a little cutout or like a stack of them in my little pocket here. And I was like, hey, where is my stack of them? I probably left them in the bedroom. And I was thinking, it's the new cycle. Is Barsha going to talk to us the next session or the after next session about the next sacred circuit? I was thinking about it today. I'm like literally, I was like, so when you talk about the sacred circuits and you started to talk about the Sirius connection of that, I was like totally blown away. I'm
That's
like,
so weird.
pure synchronicity, pure synchronicity.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. It was really funny because then I started drawing all of these symbols and sacred circuitry shortly after I started accessing all of this. Like these guys, they came in pages and pages and books filled with sacred circuitry. I didn't know what to do with myself. Like, wow. and what to do with this information, only to say, they just kept saying, just share it. That's your only job. Just share it.
Yeah, and Archer, I want to also remind you that Bashar had talked about the idea of the trinity between Sirius, Sassani, and Earth. And oddly, another thing that came to me today was he talked about the idea of changing your relationship from being one of the corners of the triangle to being at the center of the triangle. And that would open up a lot more ideas of relationships that you could have between all the different connections that you have. And I don't remember all the details of that transmission, but I remember very specifically him saying, imagine yourself now in the center. And of course, looking at the numbers, going from relate to center, it rang a bell, literally rang a bell.
Wow, it all makes perfect sense to me, truly. Thank you so much for this. And I made a song about the sacred circuitry, so at the end I'm going to post it here. And,
excellent.
And then you guys were talking about the numerology of today on the 11th. Is this Saturday we're going to have 4 ones and 1 0, and at 1 p.m. there's going to be, everyone's invited, this event where we're going to get together for meditation. Everybody who has time and who feels like it, who feels synchronistically drawn to this. So, like, you blow my mind on all levels. Like, oh my God.
I am so glad. See, but this is the point that we want to share. Exactly that. Just share it because somebody is waiting to hear it.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for all of that. All of this, I was waiting for that.
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna let someone else speak. Thank you.
Okay, well, I actually wanted to say a couple things before I hear feedback. I don't know why. Hope that's not too distracting. Anyway, a couple things. Number one, that all those sacred circuits that we were showing the pages of, I think it would be great to make like art out of that. Each one, maybe oracle cards or something. Wouldn't that be so great?
Oh my God, I can't even believe that you said that because I got the message years ago to start putting the sacred circuitry in art. And I've recently been taking quite a bit of art classes and have been, it's like I embed all of my artwork with sacred circuitry. Mine, not necessarily these circuits, but my circuitry in everything I paint. Everything. Because they even said, the layers of paint don't matter because it's energy and everything's energy. And just it being there in the painting, whether you've got layers of paint on top of it or not, doesn't matter.
Right.
And it's all an illusion and it's all energy anyway.
Right. So anyway, I thought that was really neat.
Well, thank you for saying that because that was such a validation for me. So
synchronicities all over the place.
I love it.
The other thing I wanted to mention real quick too is when you guys were talking about the dolphins and the whales and how when you see them, you get the same energy reaction as you would to seeing UFOs and stuff. That's so true. But I also wanted to add on to that that when I hear dolphin song, but especially the whale song, to me, that lights me up almost like it's a source song. It
Yeah.
sounds like it's like a source energy. When you hear the whales sing, oh my God, I can't get enough of it. It's just it's so profound. And I never thought about it from from the UFO aspect, and I think it's totally right. But that got me thinking. What I'm feeling is I feel like I'm tapping into the source energy when I hear the song, which is so
And
neat to think
and
about.
doesn't that change how we relate to even the idea of open contact? I
Absolutely.
mean, it does for me. It completely helps me tap into that vibration that we all need to be in to even have this contact, to be in the vibration of that unconditional love. And I'm reminded that the whale is the oversoul of the
Mm.
dolphin. So,
Oh my God.
yes. And I'm getting chills, God, because I'm sorry, the oceans here are the only place that the oversoul energy is large enough to contain it. And the physical representation of that is the whale.
No wonder it
And the
gives such a
collective
reaction.
consciousness. It's like a collective consciousness of the entire dolphin collective as well.
And it sings to us
And they sing to
on
us.
top of
And
everything.
isn't it just like you said, this isn't it doesn't sound like a song of source? Like and then when we sing or speak light languages or like toning, ooh, it doesn't have to be it. It can, but it represents it, that feeling within us. And that's why we're encouraged to just hum. Just, that's how energetically also we talk to the elemental community.
Mm,
Singing.
that's really neat. Okay, so my quick question then is when you guys were when you were talking about the triangulation energies from Sirius, the Sassani and Earth, and how it comes through with the moon, that really perked my ears because, and I don't know if there's a connection. That's why I'm asking. Is
Of
I've
course there
noticed
is.
for quite a few months now, I'm noticing. And I don't begrudge it. I'm recognizing it as a powerful phenomenon going on that's I don't understand. Every full moon, it's not just me. I'm hearing all kinds of people are having a hell of a time sleeping.
Shiatokuyana.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, for months now. So I'm just wondering, is that connected to what you're talking
Ah,
about, or
yeah, because that's very interesting because I felt that's one of the things I felt when they were coming to me about exploring this information today was about, this is it's amplified even more than normal when we're having these because we're open to it, we've created it. And you reminded me of something that they wanted to express today was and our some other friends of ours have had the same energy of the wolf. I was reminded too that wolf energy is like the oversoul energy of the dog and the dog star because and I was born with the name Wendy Wolfe, and Dave and I are married. I just didn't change my name and after we got married, so but so if that's confusing, that just clears that up. But that idea of the wolf energy, every single dog on our planet, from wherever you want to call it, the beginning, started from the wolf.
And the wolf howls at the moon.
And the wolf howls at the moon. So there is a definitive connection between that animal spirit, that animal guide, which was one of the reasons why I actually retained my name. And I have to tell you guys something funny, because I was going to hyphenate it, and it would have been Wendy Wolfe Yelen. Wolfe Yelen. And I'm like, not doing that. But Dave will tell you, I can yell. Oh!
Yeah, there's something about the idea of, and because we're actually making it all up, so there's not really physical science happening. We're just imagining all of this and then coming up with science to match it. But the moon reflects the sun back to the earth. So the idea of the reflection and the amplification and the assistance from not only Sassani and Sirius, but also the central sun and all the other things energetically that happen, get reflected back to us through the moon. And that's why on full moons, the idea of magnification, so whatever energies you might be feeling become magnified. So if they're positive energies, you feel more positively magnified. If you're feeling more negative kind of things, if you're in that kind of energy, you're going to experience more negative kind of things. That's why people have issues like more accidents during a full moon. The hospitals are always more active. But we just hear about that. We don't hear about all the people that are just having much better time during the full moon. You know, we know because we might have drum circles in the full moon, and we might do other kinds of spiritual activities, but the news doesn't typically report on that.
Right.
So it's more of an amplification thing that's happening more recently than in the past. That's happening.
It's not necessarily that it's more recently than in the past. It is timings. It's about timings. And I am reminded by the Sirius energy that it's, for me, it's a collective consciousness, and that's how it presents itself to me. And so the amplification has to do with timings that we have that we associate with ascension, etc. And it has been 2010 was also the date of the transmission that these were first introduced to us. And also reminding us that there are sacred circuits to follow these. And yet also I was reminded that those of us who are excited to create these sacred circuits, for that is the amplification of that energy as well. In addition to, I will say, in my experience writing these for so long, they, for me, are a reflection of an infinite number of beings, experiences, star systems, etc. It's not just Sirius,
and I think
by any means.
As all of us collectively are expanding their consciousness, our vibration, then we're going to notice things that we never noticed before. So things like the full moon energies, people are in general are going to be affected more by them. And
I'm glad you said that.
So,
because the answer is it's not the cause, it's the reflection. It's not the cause, it's the reflection. And I think you understand exactly.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yes, because it's a collective thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank
you so much. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Oh, thank you.
And I actually had a question. Do you think the whales sing the song of Sirius?
Absolutely. It is, again, it is a trinary energy at least. And there's so much more to it than we will learn, and there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And even as Angie mentioned, the Song of Source.
Yeah, the hybrid children said that, the whales and their heart are much bigger than their physical representation on Earth.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just as big as we could get it here, for our understanding. Yeah, and I used to do the same thing. I had a bunch of shoulder surgeries many years ago, and actually it was in 2010 when, after 10 years of all of that, when that's part of what brought me to all of this. All of it was no more medical, no more doctors, no more drugs, no more nothing. I know who I am. I want to find out who I am and how to become the best version of that. And that opened all kinds of doors, like the 1111 on the clock I've been seeing all my life. And oh, that's the symbol for light workers. And oh, it just happens that Bashar's birthday is represented here on Earth on 1111. Dave and I were married on 1111, 2022. So that for on purpose, but by accident. So anyway.
Thank you, Luis.
Yeah, thank you. So much to unpack here. Oh my God.
I know.
So, I mean, I probably have 10 different things to say, but no, I'm not going to do that. I'll start with Dave's comments about the triangle and putting ourselves in the center. To me, that is the expression of the integration that needs to be happening now, and that we carry those streams, and we're working our way into coalescing into that resonance. And of course, we'll be right in the center, in the exact center, when we have, pretty good, integration. And so what that tells me is that all these codes that we talk about, whether it's light language, the things that are happening to our DNA, all of that, is we're absorbing all of that information, and we're trying to, make the adjustments. And the purpose of all of that is for us to become in resonance, to emit it out. And through our presence, now we're propagating it to, whatever, we put our power of our focus, our mind, our presence, through all of those things. So that we can become kind of like a broadcasting station that helps others remember without having to say any words, just being you. And the more passionate you are, the more happier you are, the more light that you are with other people, kindness. And, even when something happens at the supermarket and somebody's kind of, not so friendly with, and the more that we, do the kind thing, the beautiful thing, the more that we embody that.
We couldn't have said it better.
You probably could.
Go ahead. I had the funniest vision when you were talking about going to the supermarket and like maybe somebody there not having the best experience for whatever reason. And if somebody just started like turn to those people who are having, maybe their kids are acting up or whatever, and started singing whale songs to them, like, what would that do to the situation?
Somebody that's really, really angry, maybe they don't get quite out of it. But the majority of people are not that extreme, so they probably get out of it.
But probably most people would understand that you're singing like whale songs as opposed to doing light language or some other kind of
if you do whale song, yeah, that's a good idea. Dave, are you going to try that this next week?
I might. We used to listen to whale songs throughout the day.
That's what I was going to say when I started talking about my shoulder. Was I would listen to whale and dolphin songs to heal. I believed it was healing me. I literally believed it. That everything I heard that it was healing me.
I will make a comment about both dolphins and whales that I have experienced. There is a spot here in Tampa at the bay, at the upper part of the bay, where the bay really narrows quite a bit. And the dolphins will come along the side wall of a park, okay? It's concrete wall, basically. And the water is sufficiently high that they'll come all the way to the edge, okay? But the exact time kind of varies a little bit, and you have to be kind of a local to know that. But they're typically 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. And I was there once when that took place, and I was able to see two of them. Just it's the energy that you feel and the amazingness of the fact that there you are, and they came and they're doing their thing, and and you're kind of in awe, and it's just amazing. Whales, the so-called shamu, the killer whale, up there in the pretty close to Canada, pretty close to Victoria, Canada, on a boat, of course. And everybody's out there looking for whales and looking for whales, and all of a sudden we're in a small boat. It's only 6 of us on the boat, and all of a sudden this shamu comes on this. Everybody's looking that way because over there somebody's seeing some whales, and this shamu comes up, okay, and just comes up, and sort of like makes and throws some air out, and then it goes back in. And that's the last time we saw it. But it was so like, wow. And the feeling, oh my God, it was just such an amazing experience.
And isn't it amazing how everything you see that, on YouTube or whatever, where you're watching a video of other people observing whales and dolphin, and you can feel their energy shifting. It is just amazing. Like, I can get emotional watching their reaction to them.
Yeah, when you are on the boat with people that are doing, the whale watching and dolphin watching, whatever, everybody's in a very happy mood. Now, do not speak politics, because that will create or anything like that. But so long as they're focused on what, everybody loves, they're kind, it's just a marvelous experience. Sirius, oh my God. I will have to add one simple thing.
That's still on my list to see, to visit the whale and the dolphin, yeah.
Come on down,
We used to live in Florida, and we just never got the opportunity to go.
Yeah, there's people that pay money and go out in boats, and for example, here in the Clearwater, you can actually hire a boat and go da-da-da. No, in this park, you just walk. You park almost in front of where they got.
Nice.
And you just walk. Now, you got to be there at the right time, that's for sure. For the dolphins, that is. But there's also manatees. You remember them. You've seen them. Okay, quite remarkable animals too. But Sirius, for I don't know, maybe 20 years, something would say, "Look at the sky." I would see Orion, and right away, Sirius. It was like, at the beginning, I wasn't even so aware about, who I really was as it was happening. I was saying, who is actually calling me to go outside and look, and boom, there it is.
And I'm reminded by them right now too that, as we are looking up from Earth, as we understand the sky to be, that these are definitely for us, by us, these constellations, because they don't look the same when you're looking at it from another perspective. So it reminds us that we are the ones who've created these designs for ourselves, much like the collective consciousness of crop circles. Very much a similar idea. I'm also reminded how to explain how each and every one of these circuits is an actual interdimensional being that you could have conversations with, and the most important piece to understand is, as beings, these represent the entire exploration of the symbol that applies to it. For example, relate. The being that is relate gets to experience everything that everything in all that is relates to, and how they relate to it. Everything. Now, just wrap your mind around that for just a moment. That they get to experience everything that has to do with every being that ever was created in creation, gets to experience anything that's ever experienced the idea of whatever center means to them. They are like a traveling container, if you will, of that, the beingness of that idea. So when we're visiting these symbols as beings, we are tapping into all of that. Everything that's ever had that experience as centered. That's how you change how we relate to everything.
Yeah, it's just amazing and just incredibly it's beyond comprehension, really.
And when you think about these symbols, and you can look them up online,
Yeah,
if you
these
just
are-
look up
yeah.
sacred circuitry, they'll come up. But remember, this is a two-dimensional representation
Yes.
that were given to us. If you start imagining them in 3 dimensions, what they might look like in more dimensions.
In more dimensions, it's hard for us to imagine that, but you know the
So
Well-
imagine like creating like this symbol, but imagine I know Artur can probably easily picture that as having one of these, but having it say create it. I keep seeing copper wire these.
Yeah, so
You know,
I'll
but-
see if I could zoom in on this one because it's a really good example. Number 13
yes,
it looks like it could be a cube because
Could be.
it's
could be. Yeah, you could your mind can process it as exactly a cube. Yeah,
so you could do those kinds of things, and if you do
That's true.
Yeah.
I never looked at it that way.
if you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
the imagination exercise in just imagining what other ways, what other forms can these take and still look like this in 2 dimensions, that just explodes your mind even further. So, I mean, I look at these, a lot of these, I could imagine them being like a straight, certain lines could really be diagonals in this way, but 2-dimensionally, it could just be a straight line when you're looking at it from the beginning,
Right.
but it might really be a diagonal that goes like this. And you could start imagining how some of these might connect to other symbols. And I mean, this, you could, probably Artur could
no,
say
and
he's probably spent hundreds of hours just looking at these and thinking of how they intermix with each other.
One of the drawings, one of the very first pages of my drawings, Artur, in this Bashar, I call it my Bashar book, is the space-time antenna, is the all of it, everything, free energy, all of those things. I have drawings of all of that. So it's, yeah.
there's many ways of skinning the cat.
And I'm
the-
reminded. Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say the concept of a 3-dimensional object that you're putting on a piece of paper so it becomes 2-dimensional. It's a projection, right? What you're doing, and depending on the angle, like if you use a light source, the angle that it hits, the projection is completely different, and it may be hard to imagine that really what it is the object was kind of fixed, but the radiation was hitting it from different angles. Now, when you start taking that into higher dimensions, oh my God, and still our mind is not going to be capable of thinking anything more than 3 dimensions.
But isn't it interesting how even this conversation has allowed us to expand
Very quickly.
our understanding, even just a little bit, in something that maybe we just didn't know what we didn't know.
Absolutely. And I will say something really quick for you guys. You guys have expanded the field with all that you said. I got notes in here that I could say I could have gone there or I could have gone here.
And it's no synchronicity that
I
his
mean, it's just
son's
like-
birthday is 11/11.
Anyway, I yield to the next person because we got more people interested in this beautiful thing. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anita, please.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for this interaction. It's as if the synchronicity is amazing. It's as if this was done and you were speaking just to me.
Yes.
I actually left and tried to find my cards because I have those sacred circuits
Oh,
on index cards.
that's what they suggest people do. Exactly that.
Yes. And
Great
so
job.
this
Great too.
interaction reminded me. I came across Bashar's video and I drew out the sacred circuits about 5 years ago, but I haven't used them in like the last 3 years. And at that time, he called them permission slips.
Yep.
So my question is, I never heard of each individual sacred circuit being referred to as a being, and that's very interesting for me. And also, how do you recommend I start using these cards, these sacred
So,
circuit cards
I would
again?
say at this point, because any of you who have already done the exercise according to his instructions, which basically you guys is just looking at each symbol for 1 minute,
Right.
each one for a total of 15 minutes, 1 minute on each one. You just simply gaze at each one and you're done.
And
And
that's what I did.
And you do that for 3 days in a row. And then once you've done that, after that, it's an invitation to use them in any way that you are excited to use them. Rewrite them. They do suggest that you hand write them because
I did.
as we know, it changes the synapses in our brain when we actually hand write them. Dave created these, from the symbols on the internet. I think, if that's a correct statement.
No,
Or you drew them
I
each.
drew them on the computer.
Okay, he did. He drew them. So I knew I was wrong. But after that point, once you've done it in the way that they've suggested, then it's anything goes. And sometimes you want to just look at one. Sometimes you want to look at a few. I have been guided by the Syrians to use them also if you're excited about expanding it all. Each day tells a story with each individual circuit. Therefore, today is 1/8. So we're going to talk about that for a moment because today is 1/8/2026. So we've got a 1 and an 8 and a 10. So if we do it that way, we can explore the idea of the 1. The 8 is flow. So
Okay.
that idea, when you're expanding it out into say, for example, today's date, now you can look at it as sort of like an oracle reading, if you will, if you want to look at it in that way. Today, I'm invited to explore center, how I'm centered, what does center mean to me today? How is it speaking to me today? What does flow mean? How am I being invited to be more in the flow? Am I doing something against the flow? Am I in my flow? Am I in my flow today? And it gives us the opportunity to then say, okay, and then number 10 is relate. How do I relate to flowing within? What does flowing mean to me? Flowing means something different for everybody. Being in the flow of something for me in painting or light language is different than or the same energy as Dave being in the flow of creating a program.
I think that our interaction this evening, both with Artur in the beginning and then with you, we've all experienced every bit the center. We've come into our heart center. We've related. We're in the flow. With this whole group is a perfect representation for what you just said.
Exactly. And I'm so happy that you said that because I'm feeling that too, that now we will relate to each other differently. We will flow with each other differently from here forward. We will find center with each other differently now. And we will feel centered together. And they're also inviting all of us tonight to look back when we're having trouble, but when we're needing to be more in center, remember this evening. Remember the dolphin.
Right.
Remember the moon shining over the water and the dolphin are coming out, the whale are coming out. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, and Arthur said, and the dragon energy talked about imagination being the key.
Absolutely.
So using your imagination, expanding, making your imagination even more imaginative. It doesn't really matter what it is that you want to do, just by using your connecting to your imagination, and that is the portal to your higher self, to infinite intelligence. That's the way it comes to you.
Wow.
So just using your imagination. How could I use my imagination to look at these symbols in some new way? Maybe connect it to other symbols or other things, or perhaps I'm thinking of astrological signs, like Libra and Virgo and whatever. How could I connect those ideas with these ideas? And
those look like sacred circuits, don't they? And,
yeah, some of them.
and how they're portrayed in the astrological symbols.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And each and I feel like the flow, a whole new flow has opened up tonight. That number 8 tonight too. That we can't ignore that's part of the energy. Is that symbol for flow. And I feel that every person who leaves this engagement is going to open up their flow, their channel in a completely new way, completely different how you related to yourself. You're going to be bolder. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel more confident. And with that comes more joy. And that is the cycle of the joy, builds the confidence, builds peace.
And flow is infinity.
And
Yes.
And
Thank you for all you've said. Thank you. This has been
thank
fabulous.
you for inviting the energy.
Yes.
Arla. Dear Arla.
Our Sasquatch family. Yes.
Istowania hikaya toshamaria la kanya hika. Istowa.
Nia tokosete. Shimali kisamoso. Inaya ikoyama onoha amahata ke lika kontore. Samisha konto intavale simbakoshe. Simala lijoha. Kilianda visaborifiana ko inkia salate. Zavishano. It's like opening your hearts and spreading them through the cosmos. Yato de Yashoko. Woo! I love you, girl.
I love you too. I was just feeling so wonderful when you began to talk about the whale song. Of course, Sirius is right up there, who is the moon water person, is connected to Cetaceans and Sirius B, and also to the Sasquatch people. And they are connected through their song, which is infrasonic. It is infrasound. And those that carry this energy are earth healers. And that being the Sasquatch people being earth keepers and earth healers and working with that and through the elementals and many things. As well as the cetaceans who came to be whales, dolphins, whatever. And of course, there are others on the earth that use this infrasound as well, elephants, and there are others who use it to different degrees. But it was impressed upon me when you were talking about the whale song, something that was brought back to me of understanding of my time on Sirius B.
Oh,
And that was the direction of the infrasound. Once you are opened, the infrasound becomes a part of you as well. Dragons carry that energy as well. And it's a healing. It's a song. It's a language, and it's one that the whales use, and the other cetaceans as well, in that healing. And it was hard for me to sit here. I was like, oh my gosh, she's talking about the whale song and all that. And it's so healing, and the synchronicity and all this stuff. And it's just tumbling and rolling and tumbling and rolling. And I'm trying to have some decorum here instead of just.
there's no need for decorum.
No, I try, but
Me too, but
it was so in the flow of the synchronistic life that we are living. And I'm like beaming.
thank you for that. Thank you. And I was also going to mention the elephants, because there's also that there I feel is another example of an oversoul.
Yes.
And I can't really pinpoint, but that whole, but I could talk about that for a long time. So I won't go into that, but I really felt that as well. While we were experiencing this dolphin and whale energy, I kept thinking and feeling the elephant energy as well, and how that's represented. And again, we're also reminded that that is the largest land animal, and the whale is the largest animal.
Yes.
Not animal.
And I'm also reminded just about when we're all being our authentic selves and sharing all of this information together, we're putting together a puzzle piece, each of our puzzle pieces together, and getting such a bigger picture that if we weren't willing to authentically share all of this with each other, we wouldn't have all these little bits and pieces. We need each of us to get all these little bits and pieces.
And I felt the same way as our tour. I was just the butterflies and because all that is really that you want to follow your highest joy and excitement, yet there it is, the belief system staring you right in the face. And you're like, no, I am excited. I was guided. I'm excited to share this. And that's part of what this awakening process is to say, I'm going to share it anyway, despite how I'm feeling inside, because that fear is simply excitement disguised in negative beliefs. That's it. Because every time, as just like you said, Artur, and Dave can attest to this for 10 years, and I've done lots of live events, and I will always get nervous. I always get butterflies, but I tell you, as soon they kept telling me today, just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. That's it. You don't need to do any more than that. Just be you, and the information that needs to come out will come out. Trust that. And that is a big message for all of us tonight. And thank you, Arla, for sharing your Sasquatch stuff out there. And, you know, I saw the post you did about your grandmother, and I was just like, so, yeah, this is in us. This is part of us. It's our family. And this is why we wanted to do this, so we could connect with a bigger family.
Yeah. And that's what we're doing. And this year is going to be such a big family reunion.
Yep.
Of so many, and there was going to be so much brought to light that is going to be that where even those of us who have done this for such a long time still say, oh my goodness, you know. So And that's the joy of staying in the flow, because when you're in the flow, you recognize that.
Absolutely. And when I told Dave that, I said, "Yeah, they're telling me I need to do this thing about this year," and then I said, I just need you to print out, center and the circuits for me, and it was like there's no questions asked, and we even printed the new one for the wall, the same one that I have here. I have framed behind us on the wall, which remains for the entire year. For obvious reasons and maybe not obvious reasons.
Well, thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate you guys so much and love you so much.
We appreciate you too. Love you too.
Artur, you're up next.
Family.
Thank you so much, guys. And I wanted to mention to this that I listened just recently to Robert Clarkson perform for the first time over the internet a new song where he is singing a whale song. And I never heard a human perform it this nicely, this beautifully. He was doing such a great job.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I
if you don't mind sharing that.
I the song,
there it is.
but
Okay.
I found his YouTube channel, and so he has his music up there. And this morning, I was dreaming about a wolf. I was dreaming about the wolf, and when I saw the wolf at first, I was like, the wolf like growled at me from when I growled at the wolf back, and then we looked at each other, and there was no animosity. There was no animosity from the wolf towards me anymore, and from like vice versa. It was just like we could look at each other, and we could just be. And I think there was like, perfect synchronicity. I mean, like, because many times people perceive the wolf as a predator, and that was not the case then. You know what I mean? In this dream, there was no predatory energy. There was just a first scare at the moment, just momentarily, like a scare, because we saw each other eye to eye, and then we were just like looking at each other. And so I just want to share this, and thank you for beautiful sharings.
That was actually a very profound thing that you just shared, because in that moment, I'm getting chills again. In that moment, you both recognized and respected each other as equals. And that's where we need to be, to have contact with anything, really, is to respect as equals.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I respect my dog as an equal to me. Her needs are equally as important as mine. And I see her that way.
And what you said today about we're making contact right now, this is not, the ET contact is not more important than the contact that we're having together right now.
Exactly. And whether it leads to ET contact or not is actually irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because this isn't about that. It's about our ascension as a species.
Angie?
Wow, that really segues greatly into my question. But before, I wanted to just comment when Dave was talking about the what are the sacred symbols? What are they called again?
Sacred circuitry.
Circuitry. When he's talking about how it could look like in 2D, it could look like a diagonal, but in 3D or whatever. And that makes me think of art again, but in three-dimensional, because what if you had it like in a sculpture, whether it's soldered or whatever it's made out of, you're able to hold it and look at it from different angles? Would it activate things? You know what I mean? The same symbol, but in three. Anyway, I just thought that would be so fantastic too. If, art like that was made, I can't imagine it would be very difficult.
I've actually thought about making these, and I'm maybe Artur will develop something, but I've been thinking the same thing. Like I told Dave, I said, what if I actually made these out of twisted copper? What would that be like? Like the energy of the copper, the amplification, as they're showing me now too about how we are, we're the receivers, and our higher self is the conceiver, and that we are tuning in to be better receivers.
Yeah, would it amplify the antenna action or
Of
something.
course, because we believe it will, absolutely. That's the beauty of permission slips, is if we're guided to do it, it's because it's going to work for us.
That's really
Period.
neat to think about anyway. But so you guys were talking about the evolution, or the evolution of consciousness versus just ET, and and that I wanted to get the Syrian's take on this because I've been getting the impression that, and maybe it's just the path I'm on in my journey at this point, but I've been getting the impression that uh, the collective is going to start, or hopefully is going to start circling back to source, and then relating, like you said, from the source aspect. We've got so many neat things happening now. So many different beings and energies are able to connect with us now more than ever. And there's so many different things, but it feels like we almost, because of that, almost we have to start back at source, almost like that number one in the sacred,
Yes, center.
or even like we were talking about with the triangle, where you start in the middle. It's almost like you have everything. It's like you have to start back at source again. And I feel like not enough people so far yet are a part of not enough of the collective is really focusing from the source point and then going out. It's like once we connect back to source, then we're so
Well,
balanced. We're so
you
centered.
you
And
perfectly received the message from the Syrians about you've answered your own question. Absolutely.
well, I mean, does that mean the collective's gonna go that route too? I just hope so, because I feel like
Well,
that would be so efficient.
again, we have to remember, if we're looking at it, from a higher perspective, we understand that it's easy. We could say, which version of Earth? Which one? Which one?
True.
So it's the one you want. Which one do you want? And that's the one you will experience. Apparently, we thought it would be very exciting on some level to interact with each other in this way and interact with again, I keep coming to the ascension of a species, and that is what the Syrians came to do. That's what we all apparently came to do also, is to assist in the ascension of a civilization.
Yeah, I want to say
A consciousness, excuse me, a
it's-
consciousness.
It's always an inside job. So bringing yourself back to source is where everything comes from. And you don't really have to worry about other people, because bringing your consciousness to the place that you want it to be is going to attract the collective that matches that idea. And
I love that.
contact is a side effect of raising your consciousness.
Yes.
So if you just imagine, as you become more aware of all that is includes more versions of yourself at other vibrations, which is contact, open contact, extraterrestrials, angels, all of those things, collectives, the ideas of any idea of thought has got its own collective energetic idea that you could connect to, that's excited about whatever that thing is. So the idea of being excited about expansion, there's a whole collective of energy that wants to participate in the idea of expansion. The idea of painting and artists, there's a whole collective energy that wants to be part of and participate in the idea of the painting and the art or the building or anything that you can think of. And as we expand more and more, we're able to connect more easily to all of those things. So of course, the hybrid children, which, that the hybrid children is collectively like all of our excitement all together. We love kids, we love fun, we love the inner child within, we love the idea of extraterrestrials, we love the idea of family, which they are also representing family. So that's all thrown in together.
And yes,
so
all of that is interconnected with all of this entire conversation.
And we all want to tell a story that includes all those things. So because we get to make up that story and play it out, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that is just awesome. That is so awesome. Okay, so one last thing. I know that you spoke about the whale being like the oversoul for the water. I was wondering if you guys or Sirius has any uh, feedback that they'd like to share about how the octopus almost like physically has that look of the oversoul. You know what I mean?
Well,
And what their kind of role might be in all of this.
it's very interesting that you say that because the first thing that came to me was the movie that we watched. And I'm terrible at remember the names of movies. But when
Oh,
she was having the first contact and learning to create a language in which they could in which they could communicate,
Hmm.
it looked almost like an octopus being. And that's
Hmm.
what it reminded me of. Um, and then there's something significant about the number 8 with relationship to the number, of
Hmm.
arms, legs that they have. Um, Gosh, this is so weird too because we just watched something the other night about a woman channeling an octopus.
Oh my
Not
God. And I
joking.
love octopus so
Like,
much.
it's
It's
so weird that you
ridiculous.
say that because we were so
yeah.
shocked.
Wow.
And it was just like, because it was just really, really
Well,
weird.
so the octopus represents a different form of alien being, and so
But
we're
not an oversoul. Not really.
Well,
uh,
the thing is, I feel that if you can feel the energy of that, that there is truth in that. Because we can't receive anything we're not the vibration
Mhm.
of. We can't.
and I think the our concept of an oversoul is very 3D
It
limited.
is. That's the,
So
yes.
Yeah.
really, probably everything is an oversoul of everything else.
Hmm.
And the idea that you're connecting to the idea of an octopus being an oversoul with 8 tentacles and
Doesn't an octopus only have one eye?
I
No,
think they
they have
have, no, I
two.
think they have two
Two.
eyes.
Okay, I wasn't
I
sure.
could.
Because it was funny. Kept seeing a symbol of the third eye on an octopus. That's what made me think of it. And I was like, oh, do they only have one eye? But I guess in my imagination,
Hmm.
I see a version of them that way. So when you said it, for me, it felt like this representation of almost like maybe the idea of centered vision.
Hmm.
I'm not really sure. And again, you can draw a symbol and I can draw a symbol, and they will still mean something different. And I can tell you, oh, I'm going to draw this symbol and it's going to represent this. And I will show it to all of you, and then whenever you see it, it will represent this. That's never worked real well for me, honestly. For me to take a symbol and identify it to me feels so limiting because then I'm denying the person to allow themselves to extrapolate what they're supposed to extrapolate from it. It's got nothing to do with me. Nothing.
That's true. I agree. Well, thank you for your feedback on that.
And I don't know if that helps answer the question about
Mhm,
the octopus or not,
mhm.
but I feel like it has a representation of something significant for us tonight.
Yep.
Hmm.
Luis?
Yeah, so many things again. Oh my God.
I thought you went
Uh,
to.
who went to bed?
I thought you had to say goodnight. Never mind.
No, no,
Oh, good. Glad you're
Oh,
here.
Louise.
not quite yet.
Oh, you were
But
saying goodnight to someone else. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I
I
missed.
was saying good night to
Yes,
someone.
I got
Oh,
that now.
Christiana.
They leave.
Yes.
We try to make them feel good as they go.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
So octopus that has 2 eyes. There
Thank you.
is a squid that has. They all have 2 eyes, but there's a squid, which is called the uh, cock-eye squid, strawberry squid. Squid. Some
Oh.
some people call it. That has one big eye and one very little one. Okay, and so you probably won't see the little one. You see the big one.
Ah.
Now, it's speaking of squids. You guys, Wendy for sure was there when somebody took us to a realm in which there was some squid looking beings that were very advanced. That's just an observation from
Hmm.
something that we had
Oh,
experienced.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Well,
and so I'm trying to connect it to what Dave said, very simplistically. Everything that exists here is an ET representation. It's a representation of an ET that's
yes,
somewhere, and in that somewhere, they are at the top level of that realm. Extreme intelligence for
intelligence.
sure, high
Yes.
consciousness for sure. Basically,
I completely agree.
yeah, we can think that actually this is because Earth was seeded by a whole bunch of different influences. Okay, let's put it that way. So, the triangle and the center point. What we're doing is we're assembling that center. In reality, you can think of that we have those things that are binding the triangle, that energy streams, and humanity is in the center. It's all scattered, okay, so to speak, and that being so scattered, hey, a lot of confusion and so forth. We need to create more of a center. It will never be perfect. Well, maybe.
And that's something that an image we can all take away with us tonight is that the idea of having that pinpoint in the center of the triangle, of a triangle, and using that as perhaps a new symbol for all of us to see, to relate to everything in a new
Our
way.
our intention, our desire, and us putting it out is very, very powerful.
Because, and look at it from a spiritual, if you want to look at it from a spiritualistic point of view, is it's always been said, body, mind, spirit. It's a trinity.
Yes.
I was just reminded too that Bashar had once said that the dolphin language is a trinary language, which is a very special thing here.
Well, the Trinity is a very, very important concept in everything. Okay.
Exactly.
You have it in religion, you have it everywhere, basically. And it is said that, polarity, is a trinity in reality. There's the point you want to be in. There's one extreme, another extreme. There's a point you want, that extreme could be infinite in that way, infinite, whatever that may be. But the third point, it's also the fulcrum, is the balance point. The triangle that you're representing there, which in reality, just like Dave hinted, is a multidimensional thing anyway.
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
But it does have a center. The only thing, that we can precisely say is that there is a center for whatever that is. And that's where we kind of strive. But we are here assembling, okay? Like this gathering, we are assembling. And as we go around and have some interaction with others, we're assembling. It's really what we're doing. And in collecting, a higher level of consciousness, because we are expanding, helping each other to see little angles, just like Dave was, making the case earlier today. Anyway, that's
And
my way of looking at it.
I'm being reminded too about the idea of the idea of the Star of David, in that when you make it a a multidimensional representation, it's our Merkaba. It's the triangles, the overlapping triangles.
Well, that's the other thing, is that the whole thing is in motion too. All of these things are in motion. So it's just like, yeah. And I keep coming to the idea of the light reflecting on a three-dimensional structure, and there being a wall behind it, and the patterns that are created, okay, as it moves, as the light changes direction, it's staggering, okay? So all of these forms are an infinity of creations, every one of them.
It's
Mind blowing.
I hear from them that if you guys could see yourselves, you would look like, disco balls and, these brilliant shifting waves of light and energy and you know, beautiful multidimensional beings,
Every
kaleidoscopes, each
every
and every
thought
one
that
of
we
them.
have, every thought that we have, every emotion that we have, all of it, you could see it as generating all of that,
And
meeting
that's
and you know.
and they can see us changing, you know, like you look when you're looking through the kaleidoscope, they can see how our forms, how it changes and shifts. And um, I've always thought that the holotope experience at the end of Bashar's when he did his meditations with it, it seemed like it somehow symbolized that idea of us being in the center and that multidimensionality, you know, that we are. And that really is the awakening happening of is us when we're in that center. Now we can see all that we are.
I
When
I
we're
agree
integrated, you know,
100%.
when our body and when we're acting in that integration of our, you know, what's exciting for our body and our mind and our soul, when we're in that place in that space, that's when we are where that's the golden spot. Just like when we see the dolphin, the puppy, the kitty cat, or any animal in nature, just something about our whole heart chakra opens, our heart center opens wide, and that's the again that feeling
Beautiful.
that our masters and our our mentors, I should say, not our masters, our mentors, are here to remind all of us.
Beautiful.
And Wendy and Dave, now I have to go and get. See, I put love in the center of my center, but I use this for my moon water on the full moon and the new moons. Now I
Oh,
have to get one for every sacred circuit. So I'll have them stretched out all over my yard now.
hey, however your guide is not, yeah.
Exactly. So then I'm like, oh, I want to do flow today. I'm going to drink out of the flow jar. You
Hey,
know,
it's
then
not a joke. It
I
is not
know,
a joke, Ray. It is. You are right on the money because
setting that intention. That's
yeah,
right.
and
You know,
that's
Ray, Arthur wanted to a little earlier had his hand up. I don't know if he still wants to chime in.
Oh,
chime in, everyone.
yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone. There was like really, this is like the family that I was looking for. You know what I mean? This is the group that I was hoping to, surround myself with. So I'm eternally grateful.
Me
We're
too.
so
Thank you.
grateful for you,
Stop by
Thank you.
twice a
dear
week.
Arthur.
I will do my best. I will do my best.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy we found you or that we met or whatever. How
Thank
that
you. You guys are a gift that keeps on giving.
it's an awesome.